Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to change the world one brave word at a time around here. And here today to help me do that is Kristi Sullivan. She is the lead author of one of our newest collaborative book titles, Stop Overworking and Start Overflowing. Kristi is a human design and self-care expert, author, and speaker on a mission to help those busy women stop overworking and start overflowing, hence the title of our book. Welcome, Kristi. How you doing?
I'm doing great today. Thank you for having me, Laura.
Yes, of course. I'm excited about this book. And so I thought first, let's let the listeners get to know you a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your story, kind of how you got to doing this thing that you're doing today.
Well, I call myself a personal development junkie. I think a lot of probably your listeners and your authors are like that too. And a few years ago, actually probably 6 or 7, I suddenly saw an email from a friend of mine who's a coach that said something like 3 lies and 1 life-changing truth. And it caught my attention. And from that email, I ended up working with her in a program where she taught us human design and taught us that sometimes the formulas that we're taught, the formulas that we think we need to follow in life, don't always serve us, are not really in alignment with our energy. And that was life-changing for me to discover this tool called human design. And I studied it with her and my group for about a year. And that really helped me during a time in my life when I was having challenges, where things obviously out of my control. And we all, that time when we look to tools of what can help us, and human design really started to help me during that time to shift my energy and to be more of who I am and lean into that.
So as I read through the chapters of this book, the transformation factor is real for not just you, for a lot of people. And obviously for our authors who stepped up to say yes to this project and really help people understand what this is and all of that. What's the why behind this for you? Like, why is this tool so powerful for people? Why do you think?
That's a good question. I think, again, it has a lot to do with where are you on your personal development journey, your inner work, your spiritual journey, some can call it. And this tool is just so in-depth and complex that it helps you put together, I think, some pieces of the puzzle that you're trying to fit. It's very validating. It is a tool based on your birth date. So it's what it is. It's not like a personality assessment where things can change, and it just validates things that you're finding along the way. And I think it's just along someone's journey where they're waking up, that awareness is there. And it's as if the tool is like, yes, you're on the right path. And so when people understand that and they get that validation, of course, it feels good, but it also creates more energy and power, so to speak, for you to follow through on your path, on your journey. It gives you courage. It gives you compassion even for who you are, and even understanding for other people and who they are. So I think that's why this tool is powerful, because it's, for me, a big aha. And like you said, a lot of the authors in this book have that aha moment from this tool.
Definitely. And we want to give them a quick thank you for saying yes to this project and for being so amazing, and just their ability to share their real, authentic stories and then really step up and teach the tools is very cool. So
yeah. And I want to say that I think these authors are why I knew that there are other people out there who could share this story. And that's why I thought that the book needed to get out, because other people can validate this. So they're amazing. And I'm so glad that they stepped up to do this.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So you mentioned that this is based on your birth date. So tell me how it differs from astrology.
I call it astrology on steroids, because astrology, as we know, the basic astrology, we think of the 12 zodiac signs, and same like a personality assessment or Enneagram. We fit into one of those boxes. But I call human design a little bit more of a rabbit hole, where when you look in that box of who you are, you start to notice your uniqueness. I'm a Libra. This is my birthday month. So I know I can relate to other Libras on the surface, but underneath who we are is this uniqueness, and we have different unique patterns. And when you look at human design, it helps show what's really, I call it underneath the hood of the car, what your operating system is like. We're not all the same computer. We may have on the outside look similar or have the same zodiac sign, but on the inside, there's a lot of differences. And again, that unique energy blueprint that you have.
So I've never asked you this before. Maybe this is a dumb question, but if you have two people with the exact same birth date and time, is the chart the same?
That is a good question. I would think of like twins, for example. Location is also a factor. So where you are born also can provide, I think, some differences. And twins, for example, born in the same location, close time, maybe a few minute difference, they probably will have similar blueprints. There can be a shift sometimes within, let's say, if it's a few minute difference, there could be a shift. But what I would say, what makes us again unique is then how, not just how we were born, but then how were we raised? What messages stuck with us? How were we encoded? What were our experiences? And that's sort of all of the other layers on top of human design that we start to look at and start to come to understand when you, again, first look at the blueprint and then say, now, who am I and where did I learn some of these things if they weren't encoded in me? So even people with the same birth date can have very different journeys.
So the themes of clarity, and then you mentioned validation, were throughout the book. And I wonder if you could help us with maybe a personal example of something human design helped you get really clear about, or maybe one of those ahas that you had on your journey.
Yeah, definitely. And I said, I had a few things during my coaching of this that came up, and one in particular, and the most recent was about a year ago. I had left a marketing career that I had for a very long time and had sort of this blank slate to say, okay, now what do I do? What do I want to get into? I knew it was around wellness because that was always a passion of mine. So as a generator, which is the type that I am in human design, it's important to notice and respond to opportunities. So what I started to do once I knew that I had an end date for my 9-to-5 job that I was leaving, I started to tune into what opportunities did I see. Perhaps there was an invitation to be part of something, or this new group forming. One example I can give is I had a friend who said, I want you to be part of my book coaching group. And I thought, I'm not planning to write a book, but I said yes, because I love what she offered. And I thought, okay, I'll do it. And then a few months later, the next opportunity that came up was actually a call from you out to others to write, to be part of a book called The Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing, and writing a chapter. And that was the next opportunity. I said, yeah, I think I want to do that. And so those kind of were the stepping stones that led to me now doing my own book. But those are examples of me following human design, when rather than me trying to figure it out in my head about what do I need to do for a job or a business and where do I need to head off, it was me kind of responding to things that came to me.
So you mentioned types. I learning the HD language, you guys, you're going to hear terms like type and chart and channel and defined and undefined. And Kristi, I'm sure, could make the list longer there, and like the language of it. But this all really begins with having somebody help you with your chart. Just say a little bit more so they know what we're getting them into here.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources. I always say online, you can look a lot of things up. So if you were to run a chart or input your birth date, and you would get something that looks like a blueprint, looks like a body with different energy centers. And again, it's your energetic blueprint. You can certainly research things. What I recommend is a reading or a guidance discussion with somebody who can explain to you what that chart is, what things like open centers mean versus a defined, or what is your authority or decision making wisdom. So it's to sit with somebody who can kind of give you an overview of that chart. And as you may read in the book, I have 25 authors and practitioners who do human design readings in different ways. So one that might focus on things like parenting versus business versus relationships or money. So you can really get a lot from your chart. And I always recommend, talking with others about your chart, those who know human design, who can give you some insights. Does that answer your question?
Well, I love that too. And of course, it's my mission to bring together a collaboration of people, so that there's just a lot of different kinds of people in the world, and they need to hear it in their way that resonates with them. And so that's why we've brought these people together for you guys, so you can have an idea. But honestly, the stories are the place where you're going to understand that person at a personal level. And then the way that they present the material about human design in their own unique customized tool will be another place that you might resonate. So we can't wait to share the book with you and all of these things with you.
Yeah. And I want to just say that one of the things the book doesn't have is this technical long list of exactly the human design energy centers and channels and each intricate thing, because I didn't want it to be a technical book. Again, there's a lot of things already out there. You can go looking up, what does this mean? What does that mean? The storytelling, I think, is so powerful. And even for those who are new to human design, it can take time to really understand your chart. So just knowing the basic words like I'm a generator versus a projector or manifester, which are explained in the book a little bit, just that little piece of information can start you on a journey and give you some great insights. And I think the authors all kept it at that level for even beginners, to help them pique their interest in human design.
Definitely. Yes, no doubt. Okay, so you consider yourself a self-care expert. And so a little bit outside this discussion of human design, why? What happened in your life?
So it does relate still to the human design coaching that I did, because when we understood the information, which is great and something that our head and intellect wants to comprehend, it was important to get into the body. So we really focused on how do we feel, what lights us up, what are things we can do to help our wellness, our well-being, what can clear our energy, what can help heal us. So everything under that umbrella of self-care, that I call it, more than just diet and exercise. I started to tap into, okay, this is important. As I was going through challenges in my life, not just my job change, but even in my family, I needed tools and ways to make sure I was tapping into my energy in a way that could be nurturing and help me shift. It's part of our self-care, personal development journey, I think, to do that, to have practices that help ground us, but also keep us in the body and sometimes out of this head that can just create a lot of chaos. So that's why self-care is so important to me. And I use it in conjunction with human design, because getting in the body is so important. And I have a long background with yoga, so that's where sort of my self-care started.
So I was about to ask you about the favorite ones that you use. So maybe you mentioned yoga just now. What else is at the top of your maybe top 3 list of go-to self-care activities?
Yeah, I do love yoga. I love tapping. I think that's really powerful. Listening to meditations or even some of that music while I'm sleeping is another favorite, because it's sort of like set it and forget it. And I just like exploring different modalities. So I'm always open to trying new things, but the top three were the ones I just mentioned.
I have really nature walks on the top of my list, you guys, and journaling, of course, because I'm a writing fan, but I love to just sit with that blank page and let it go. And music is on my list whenever I just need a little switch of vibration, shake it up a little bit, right? I love to share these kinds of things with the listeners, not because they haven't heard of turning on the music before, but also just because we need reminders, right? Like, how do you make that a part of your daily routine? Are you reminding yourself, or is it kind of a practice for you now?
I think it's always a reminder, especially when we get busy with a lot of external things. But I think to your point, we also have to make it more of our internal programming, like brushing our teeth. How often do we forget to brush our teeth? I mean, sometimes, but often it's just so habitual. We do it at a certain time. So it doesn't mean self-care has to be a routine, but just the idea of self-care should be a routine, so that every day, whether when you wake up or when you're falling asleep at night, you know you've done something through the day that's going to be for you, for your well-being, whatever that is. It could be a walk. It could be just sitting and taking some breaths. And I feel like the more that we do it, the more our body craves it, the more our psyche craves it, because it's nurturing and it's helping us. So I think it starts off as a habit and a reminder you have to tell yourself. But I have a couple tips, which are: keep it simple. It doesn't need to be complex. Make it a priority and know that it is essential. Like breathing oxygen. We really do need this more and more in this day and age, especially for our energy.
I was talking to a friend the other day, my friend Anna Ray. She said naps are a success strategy. And I thought, yes, more naps.
Love that. Me too.
So tell us a little bit about what you have going on right now. How can people connect with you? What you got going on? All that good stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I just love teaching and sharing about human design. So whenever I can, I love to show up at an event, or if I'm asked to be part of even an online summit or a workshop. That's something that I think is really important, because human design is still fairly new. So doing things like that. And then I also invite people to connect with me. I do personal sessions one-on-one to help you understand your chart. And then once people have done that, I do have some containers or groups that meet on a weekly basis to just help them apply human design to their day-to-day lives and help them understand. And it's a conversation ongoing and support system, I would call it. And then for those who just want to do it on their own, I did create a mini digital course, because it's only about an hour long, that people can take. And it's a good starting point. It talks about self-care as well. And I'm looking forward to doing things like retreats more and more, and in-person meetings, of course, so that we can connect one-to-one, and I can help people with understanding human design.
Awesome. So we can find all of that where?
The best place is my website, KristiHSullivan.com. And I'm also active on Facebook, a little bit on Instagram as well. But Facebook, I have a group, facebook.com/Kristi H Sullivan is the way to get to it.
Cool. So you guys, I've got all of that hooked up down below in those show notes, and you can go click away and really do. Like, if this conversation is interesting to you and your curiosity is piqued, take a next step into Kristi's world and click on her site and see what she has to offer. I love the idea of that little mini course too, to get people's feet wet, right? So yeah, and this book, you guys, just wait. Like, you're going to hear from 25 different experts who are going to help you transform your life with human design. We can't wait for that to be out. It's going to be celebrated with a live stream book party on October 19th at 10 a.m. That's going to be on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page. That is also down below for you. So please come join us, and we'll have all of the authors there to share their wisdom and celebrate this powerful book. So of course, if you're listening after that date, well, then you can hop over to Amazon and grab your copy of it. All right. Kristy, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for all you're doing as well, being the publisher of the book, and so grateful for this journey.
All right, you guys, lastly today, I just want everyone to remember that your brave words change the world when you share them out loud. It is time to be brave about that. There is somebody listening whose life will be changed if you get your brave on. So see you next time, everybody. Thanks, Kristy.